Hello everybody. Next we go back on the road up to Manchester, where City will be our hosts. Kick-off on Saturday is 12:30 p.m. with the chappies at BT Sport being on the case, televisually speaking. It will need another early start for the gentlemen, and I use that word quite wrongly, of Eyes Up Mother Brown, if that's your thing. Personally, the thought of encountering that lot first thing in the morning would require a stronger stomach than I can lay claim to, but it takes all sorts, I suppose. So, Man City then. Now, a note to Mourinho and Klopp. They're going to be playing on Saturday after having played on Wednesday night, without moaning about it. They are, of course, top of the league with 59 points from the 25 games they've played so far. That's opened them up a 10-point gap at the top over their Salford neighbours and Leicester, and a 14-point gap over the team in fourth place as we speak, whoever they might be. Would you like to scare yourself with their current form? Well, they've won their last 19 in all competitions, which includes their last 12 in the league. Want to be even more scared? Their last 7 games in the league included 5 victories without the services of Kevin De Bruyne. If you ever find yourself being patronised by a professional football writer, you could point out that he or she is a member of the group of such collective ignorance that they once elected Mo Salah as Footballer of the Year ahead of De Bruyne, despite the fact that Salah's about a millionth the player De Bruyne is. So, having scared the pants off everyone, I should point out we've got some crumbs of comfort from their form. Firstly, beating them at home is not impossible. Witness Leicester City, who actually stuck 5 past them at the start of the season. Secondly, getting a draw up there is not impossible. Witness West Brom, who, despite being pretty much the worst team in the league at present, managed a 1-1 draw up there in December. Thirdly, being useless is not necessarily an impediment to get a result against them. Witness the fact that the last team to beat them were Spurs back in November. Yes, really. As mentioned, they were last in action in the so-called Champions League, where they faced Borussia Mönchengladbach in Budapest, a city that's doing a nice little sideline in hosting matches that can't take place at their correct venue due to COVID regulations. Mönchengladbach, for its part, is a town famous for its football team and its pivotal role in the marvellous TV series Whatever Happened to the Likely Lads. Not to be confused with The Likely Lads, which, though featuring the same leads, lacked the observational opportunities afforded by having one of the protagonists coming to terms with the rapid social changes of the early 1970s, which took place while he was stuck in Mönchengladbach. Where was I? Oh yes. So, having looked at their current form through our fingers, what have they done in the transfer window to worry us? Well, the presence of Daisy, the socially distant support-bubbling personal assistant with the beautiful smile, back in the spa, will tell you that she's had another week off from researching the arrivals section of the transfer window on the grounds that, apart from a Serbian kid who was immediately loaned back to the club that sold him, they did no business in the January sales. Well, when you look at it, why would they? In recent months, Ilkay Gundogan has come to the fore as their standout performer, gaining the Premier League's Player of the Month gong for January. Gundogan has been capped over 40 times for Germany, though his Turkish ancestry has handed him in a bit of hot water in the past. He met up with Turkish President Erdogan in London a few years ago, which is all well and good, but as a German citizen representing Germany at football, referring to the possibly slightly bonkers Erdogan as my president was never going to go down too well with German supporters, and Gundogan found himself roundly booed at his next international appearance. It was a lesson not well learned, as he later seemed to be approving of an Instagram post relating to the Turkish Armed Forces operations in Kurdistan, which have drawn criticism from some sources, including the UN, who voiced concerns over human rights issues. Having had a think about it, Gundogan withdrew his like, and is presumably thinking twice or 3 times before making any more social media posts. The other form horse is youngster Phil Foden. Now, if you went to Central Casting to ask for a Manchester estate kid, you'd be hoping for someone not dissimilar to Foden to turn up. It wouldn't surprise me if he had his own anorak. He had a shaky start to his international career, getting kicked out of the England squad temporarily, having invited a guest back to the team hotel in Iceland. Something that would be probably frowned upon in normal times, but something that comes nigh on a capital offence during a pandemic, when even looking at someone through the team bus window is considered a bad thing. Hopefully it's a lesson learned by the lad who has talent coming out of his ears. There's been a lot of talk in recent weeks over the past career of Ravel Morrison. I'm not saying that Foden has any of the issues that Morrison faced in his youth, but it would sure as hell be a waste if his career were to be put at risk for the want of a quiet word, which I'm sure Man City will have had. Foden was on target when we faced them at the Olympic back in September. I was surprised to note that for what apparently appears to be a free-scoring side, only Gundogan has racked up double figures in the lead. However, with Sterling on 9, Foden and Mahrez both on 6 and a host of other players with a few to their name, it's clear that the goals are spread throughout the side. The other major surprise was how little contribution Aguero has made to the league season. He tested positive for COVID early this year, having missed chunks of 2020 with a knee problem. In fact, he's only made 4 appearances in the league all season, and he's been an unused sub in their last 3 league matches. He was also on the bench in midweek, though Guardiola broke with recent tradition and gave him 10 minutes plus stoppage. He's yet to open his goal-scoring account in the league. We could go through their whole dodgily assembled squad. Financial fair play, that's for little people. But instead, I think it's time we should move on to the wild and wacky world of association football. And the footballing world was rocked to its foundations when the BBC, hitherto looked upon as being so far up Liverpool's backside you could see Lineker's inane grin every time Klopp opened his mouth, actually published something mildly critical about the precious little dears. As Marnie became the dozenth Liverpool player to throw himself to the ground in yet another desperate attempt to win a potential match-salvaging penalty, the chap doing the BBC text commentary commented on how windy it was at Anfield, something that will probably result in a mass boycott of the TV licence by 50% of the city. Well, that proportion that pays it in the first place. Something else to look out for on the BBC was footage from the Guatemalan 3rd Division. What do you mean you don't know about the Guatemalan 3rd Division? It's fantastic stuff, showing a player picking up a wayward missile thrown from the crowd, then hitting himself over the head with it and rolling about in agony. Liverpool are said to be interested in the player, or maybe they're just bothered about copyright. Elsewhere, Villa manager Dean Smith vowed to discover who had leaked the absence of Jack Grealish from his team to play Leicester, seemingly oblivious to the fact that loads of Villa players had left him out of their fantasy league teams. I suggest you don't waste an awful lot of time looking for Columbo's number, Dean. And so let's move on to us then. Have you stopped laughing yet? No, me neither. It's been an education looking at the opposition views and the general reaction from the room temperature IQ brigade that seems to comprise their support. The almost complete and utter lack of self-awareness that pervades the shell shoot wearers borders on the gobsmacking. Normally one doesn't like to intrude on people in reduced circumstances, but on this occasion I'll make an exception. Bless them, they've probably convinced themselves they're back in the so-called Champions League by virtue of their Thursday night league match against Austria's 7th best team being played on a Wednesday. What about that Souček then? Heads the back of a head, opens up what appears to be a major artery, gets up and refuses to go down until the ball's safely clear. Then he goes off, has a couple of stitches, and returns to start heading the ball like nothing has happened in the first place. Someone should knock up a video of Souček with the title West Ham next to Marnie's windy fall captioned Liverpool. I'd do it myself, only I don't want to. Lingard, another fine game. Rice, ditto. Dawson, ditto. In fact, there were guts and determination throughout. Blood, literally in Souček's case, sweat and tears. It's often said that West Ham supporters will forgive a lot of players as long as they put in effort. Well, we certainly got that on Sunday. Yeah, we rode our luck a bit, but think about it. Son's only effort to cause concern was a fluky rebound in stoppage time. All in all, it took a player who probably doesn't want to be there in Bale to cause us any concern whatsoever. Mourinho, for his part, seems to have started to write his own epitaph, being quoted as saying, "I'll be remembered at Tottenham for good reasons." Yeah, sure, Jose, you've certainly given us all a good laugh in these troubled times. Apart from the 3 points and the belly laughs, the other good news was that Antonio managed the full 90 minutes plus stoppage. In fact, at the end, it was Lingard who was given a few minutes rest, which suggests that the medical team are happy with the state of Antonio's hamstrings. However, if you're superstitious, keep everything crossed just to be on the safe side. On the medical front, we're down to Masuaku, Yarmolenko and Ogbonna on the sick list. None of those will be available for the trip north. Apart from that, it should be a full squad. Which brings us on to the tricky matter of the prediction. Now, the way we're playing, I wouldn't put it past us to get something out of this game. After all, we drew earlier in the season at our place. However, too much thinking along those lines would probably see us descending into Spurs levels of delusion. Let's face it, Manchester City are going to win the title at a canter. You don't win 19 on the trot in all competitions without having something about you. Nice though it would be to see us coming away with a point or three. Realistically, I think we're going to be looking at a defeat, though the likes of Granite Head Souček won't want to roll over for them. I'm therefore going to put the £2.50 I was going to pay for Manchester City's Fantasy League secrets on a home win. Mr. Winston, if you'd be so kind as to make that 2-1 to them, please. Enjoy the game.